Okay, so now that I've kind of walked you through all the module things, I'm going to go ahead and edit this image and show you some more features. So what I'm going to do first is, oh, that just saved, let's put that down. I'm going to increase the exposure because I like light and bright, and then I'm going to increase my contrast a little bit, bring down the highlights just a tad, because I don't, what happens if they get like too bright, it just sort of looks a little fake. And shadows, sometimes I go either way with the shadows. I'm going to bring them up, and my whites, I am going to increase my whites just a tad, and I'm going to bring back my blacks. Okay, so here we are with the basic image. I haven't even touched my white balance, but I can tell you already, and one thing I do is I always edit with this window being white, and you can change that under your preferences, your main window and secondary window color. I like it white because then I have something to gauge on in terms of color temperature. So I'm seeing blue here, so I'm going to increase the warmth of my image, and already that's looking better. And sometimes literally you have to just overdo it to see where the right point is. Okay, that's still looking a little warm, and what I'm doing is I'm looking all over the image too. Like right here, this is looking very warm to me, very warm. So I'm gonna decrease it some, probably right there. And I think my tint is looking fine. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave that at what it was. Okay, one thing I do see is it is a very vibrant image, and some people that would be fine. For me, I am gonna bring down the vibrance just a tad, just so it's not so like pow in your face. Right about there. Before I do anything else, I am going to go down to my lens correction. Oh good, that was already checked because I think I did that last time. Okay, so we're gonna do that. All right, so I'm just gonna mess around with this tone curve just to give you guys an idea of ways you can increase your contrast. What I would do, if you want a little bit more punchy, I would make a very soft S curve here. And that does help get your whites even a little bit whiter. And I maybe would bring this down just a bit. And sometimes if you click and hold this white point, you can mess around and see where it lies the best. So that's actually looking pretty good. Again, I probably would have just left this, but let's go ahead and leave it where it's at. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the saturation in my oranges just because I don't like, it's still a little bit too vibrant for my taste. So I'm going to go to saturation here. And this would actually also help if you have a lot of warm colors in your whites. You could play with the orange settings here. So I'm going to bring this down. And sometimes I bring it down all the way just to see a good starting point, and then I bring it back. Okay. And I'm not going to do any sharpening. I'm not going to deal with luminance. Okay. So the next thing I would do is add my gradients. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because the edges do look still a little bit dark, and I like it to be as white as possible. So I'm going to click my linear gradient, and I'm going to go to exposure, and I'm going to increase my exposure, and I'm just going to click and drag. And already that's looking really good, but it's a little tad too bright. So sometimes just even the slightest, this is only 0.18 increase. And sometimes what I do, because I don't want this envelope to look overly exposed, so I'm going to bring down the shadows so that that doesn't look too bright. And then I'm going to add another gradient this way. And sometimes it'll remember your settings, otherwise you just need to go back in and adjust to what you like. And then I'm going to add one down here. Again, a little too bright, so I'm going to bring that down. And I don't think I really need one up top, but I do still feel like this corner is still a little dark. So I'm going to add one more, and I'm going to go from this direction. That, to me, looks really good. So the only thing that I'm noticing now, and this looks great, I probably, if I weren't being overly picky with this tutorial for you guys, I would have probably just exported, but there's a couple things I do want to correct. In this corner, I do feel like there is like a little bit of color casting, whether that's like, it's like a little bit magenta maybe, or a little bit pink. I'm not exactly sure, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my gradient tool again, and this time I'm going to go to tint. And I do feel like it's a little too magenta. So I'm going to see. Sometimes taking it down really far and then bringing it back will help. All right, so let's see how that looks. I'm just going to delete this. So see, it's like so subtle that honestly, like it's not even really making that big of a difference. So it could just be that I'm staring at it too long. But I think that's one thing you guys can learn to think about is like, if you have almost like this weird yellowy cast or something, you can add this gradient, right? If it's too yellowy, maybe like you bring down the temperature and you like cool it down. Again, sometimes it's, you can start to see like the blue, the coolness in the image. Sometimes you have to like really, and then like, let's say it was really, really cool and you wanted to bring it up. Okay, but let's delete that. And then the last thing, you see this like spot right here? That's probably a shadow from my tripod. So I'm gonna grab my spot removal tool, and I have it on heal, which does a pretty good job. And clone would be an exact copy. So like if I did this, and if I did clone, it's going to take an exact copy of that. But I want it to heal. I want it to say, okay, fix it, correct it, heal it. Think about it like for a skin blemish, you want to heal it. My opacity is at 100% because if I bring this down, it's going to, sorry, here, I'll show this. It's going to show a little bit. So if you want it to be like 100% opacity, the feather is just to have a hard edge or a soft edge. I mean, right now it doesn't really matter because it's all white. But yeah, so that looks really good. So that's really all I would do. Let's go to our before and after and see how great that looks. I hope this was super helpful for you guys. I'm happy to do more of this stuff. Let me know in the comments if you like this, if it was helpful, if you need more direction on a particular issue. Happy to help. All right, I will talk to you later.